Welcome back to A Fresh Story, the podcast where we have conversations about brave decisions to start over again. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Olivia, and we're so glad you're here today.
Hello there.
Hi, sister. How's it going?
It's really good. What do you want for lunch?
Well, what I want and what I should have are always two different things.
No, we're feeding
should.
our souls. No shoulds. Don't should yourself to death.
No.
I think I've been back in New York for almost a month now. I only think I've had actually haven't had a bagel from a bagel shop. We've only gotten bagels that we brought home, or as Olivia calls it, making bagels at home. And I'm thinking maybe we need to go to Bagel Works, and I need to get an everything bagel with scallion tofu cream cheese because I'm dairy free, as you all know, and lox. The only problem is I hate it when they make the bagel in the bagel shop and then they it's one layer of cream cheese and then lox on top. I need it to be opened as a sandwich because I don't. It's a waste of bagel, I think, to eat it as a bagel sandwich. I like to eat it.
The bagel conversation is a big conversation, right? Because again, talking about regional things too, we talk, often about what's regional to Long Island. Bagel sandwiches, I don't even think we call them bagel sandwiches here, but bagels are your bagel
sandwich if it has turkey on it, but
right. Your bagel order is when I don't know if people know this, when you're born in Long Island, you are bestowed a bagel order.
When you're born on the island of Long.
When you're born on the island of Long, the bagel order is bestowed. So you get your bagel order. And
yeah, there's it's like a fairy godmother that comes to the hospital rooms at North Shore LIJ hospital rooms.
Right.
And she says, and to this child, I shall give you everything.
Right. Sesame. Right. Yeah, exactly. So speaking
Weston
of Long Island,
Weston was bestowed a plain bagel, but Wyatt was given a rainbow bagel.
Yeah. Speaking of Long Island, we had a fantastic conversation with an amazing woman, Erica Taylor.
Spitfire is what I would call her.
If I don't see this woman on television in the next few years, then everything I know about the world will be wrong. She's a makeup artist and she is an entrepreneur and manager and all these amazing things.
And she's accessible. And this was part of what we talked about. Erica came up through art, went into makeup, doing makeup in department stores and selling makeup. And then now has pivoted to being on TikTok and being a super accessible consultant for people.
Right.
And she sells consultants where you can get on Zoom with her and she will look at you and you'll talk about how to put on makeup and what makeup you should be wearing.
I feel like she's the mom people need.
Yes. Right? And she charges a fee, but it's super reasonable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of there's so many different kinds of therapeutic processes. And I do feel for somebody like me that really has no clue about makeup, it would be sort of an entrance to the world of that. It's very intimidating, and she is just so lovely and wonderful and fun to talk to. And we are going to meet up with her and have a drink.
And we talked too about the importance of makeup and how it really can level you up to your confidence and to the next place in your life. And
right, and how it's not about the makeup, it's about the process. It's about staring at yourself in the mirror, connecting with your own eyes.
Such a beautiful conversation. Yeah, she is a beautiful spirit and human, and we were so excited to talk to her. So please enjoy the conversation with Erica. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to A Fresh Story so that we can keep telling your fresh start stories. Erica Taylor has been a professional makeup artist and beauty expert for over 25 years, working with top brands like MAC, Laura Mercier, Benefit Cosmetics, and more. She recently made the decision to leave the industry she loved for over 25 years and become a full-time entrepreneur. She started her TikTok in 2021, where she does makeup tutorials and has created an incredible and engaging community sharing tips and techniques for women in their 40s plus. Erica, we are so excited to have you here today. How are you, first of all?
I am great, recovering from, the winter cold. But other than that, I got this.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know all of us have gotten sick. It was running through our house too. Why don't you take us back to the beginning of your fresh start story?
Okay. So, I've had a very long history in cosmetics. I started at 19. I went to school to be an art teacher, and I fell in love. I was actually like a weird kind of like goth art student, right, in the 90s.
Sure.
And I'm 46. So this is, we're going back 27 years. And I was getting basically punished by my principal mom because I couldn't get a job. And it's not because I wasn't looking, like nobody would hire me. So I ended up, someone said to me, why don't you work in cosmetics? And I was like, okay. So that's a whole other story. So that was like the original start, right?
Right.
How I ended up marching into a Macy's in Valley Stream. Okay. You guys are Long Island
Three
gals,
Long Islanders here.
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So that, and not the best Macy's, but I went there and they hired me in prescriptives color matching.
Okay.
They used to do the color blending. So anyway, that's a whole other story as far as what started my adventures. But that takes me to 27 years in this industry, right? So if we want to talk about that fresh start at 46, so last year, I started playing around on TikTok.
Okay.
And a friend of mine had asked me, what do you want out of this? I go, I want to find my gang. I want to find my people. My 40s and up, like fashion, love beauty, but also we're just real fun people.
Yeah.
Drink some wine. You don't have to, but you enjoy your wine, enjoy your fun, and just don't take things too seriously.
Yeah.
So my first liner video that kind of went viral was actually in April of 22. That was like lining and whining, right? How to properly eyeline our eyes over 40 or even not, just how to get the eyeliner on your lid to start. So that kind of just like, and I just said, grab a glass of wine and a great attitude. Like, just kidding. You don't need a great attitude. And then it just took off and I started finding my people.
Yeah.
And then I was doing befores and after, like do's and don'ts. What our makeup has not changed, but our face has. So how to kind of relate with that. So I've spent so much time teaching clients that I just started having fun. And then it became something kind of on its own. And I said, I'm 46. When do I take the chance? Right? Because I was a regional director for a brand.
Yeah.
So I couldn't share as many things as I wanted to because I was under a brand.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to take a leap of faith. I'm just going to choose me, take a leap of faith. And here we are.
I love that. I love that. We're all about choosing yourself as number one. So important. I love that. So take us back to, you started at Macy's. How do you work your way up from being, the counter girl at Macy's blending color to where you are now? There's a lot that has had to have happened between that space. And you have 3 children, I believe, as well. So you accomplished a lot of things in the last 27 years. So what was some of the highlights in that journey for you?
So I was going to school to be an art teacher. My mother was a principal. I watched my mother as a child, and she had me at young. She was about 23. And I watched her go to school and keep growing in her career, from a second grade teacher to a resource room to a dean to an assistant principal to a principal. I used to sit there when she would go to school and just do something when she was in night school. So I just really respected her drive. So my thing was, if I'm going to be in makeup, I'm not going to stay at the counter. And if that makes you happy and brings your heart joy, God bless. But I always wanted more. Yeah, so I remember getting in trouble at Macy's because everyone would say, she's like a shark. She's stealing all of our clients. And I'm like, well, you're not talking to them. Yeah. Someone has to. Right. I was 19. 6 months later, I go to a MAC store. I had wild makeup on. I met this guy who said, why don't you work here in Roosevelt Field, the store?
Yeah,
it's still there.
Yeah.
And I walked in. I was maybe 19, maybe going on 20. And I said, okay, I'll put my application in. A couple of months later, it was Thanksgiving. And right before Thanksgiving, I got called for a temp offer, 24-hour temp offer. And I said, you know what? Why not? This is a dream. It was the 90s to be at MAC. Like, what? You're talking late 90s.
Yeah.
That was like the place to be, right? So I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then my salary went from like, I don't know, maybe like $8 to like 16. And I was like,
I'm rich.
Living large.
What? Now, mind you, I was in school full time.
Okay.
I was working full time, well, part time at this time. And I just worked really hard. I was not the best makeup artist. I wasn't, but I worked and I tried. And every time I couldn't do lip liner. So every single client that came in, I would do lip liner. I would do
Right.
lip liner. I would just do it. Every shift they asked me to cover, I'd cover. They'd
Yeah.
ask me to stay late, I stay late. They'd ask me to come early, I came early. I just worked. So then this is a kind of funny story. And, you know, they liked me because I worked and I didn't bother anybody.
Right.
Right.
So I went for a trainer position, but I applied for a senior trainer position. And when I went in, I messed up the interview like brutally. It was like uncomfortably awkward. I was making up answers. I was sweating. I was dealing with like this woman that was like Nadine, the head of like global trainers. I don't remember the position at the time. And she was like it. And
Mhm.
here I am having the world's creepiest, worst, uncomfortable interview in the world. I was mortified. But instead of giving up, I went back 6 months later. I tried again. And now I knew what they were going to ask.
Right.
Right.
And I studied and I practiced. So I think it was just, I don't know. I just had like a little bit of balls of steel. I don't really
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
Power
was gonna
Beach.
say, you know, you have a drive, right? Like, and even your energy, like for everybody listening, like you have an amazing energy. Like you could go like change the world with your energy.
Mhm.
I hope you do, because like you, first of all, you're gorgeous and beautiful and all of those things, but your energy is
Yeah.
really powerful, and like we can feel that and pick that just in
Mhm.
talking to
Only
you. So
matched by your amazing jacket that I just noticed, and I'm obsessed with it. It has spikes on it. Vintage.
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 It has spikes on it, everybody. She is
Mhm.
it's like I was watching and talking to her and like and then I noticed the jacket and I got very distracted because it's amazing. The shoulders are all spikes. Woof.
I got
Yeah.
this like 7 years ago, I think. Like if I just see something that I love, I dig it. Like I don't care where it's from,
Yeah.
vintage, whatever store, high, low. I just like what I like. And I have my own like kind of bizarre, weird style where it's
Right.
like sometimes it's like almost ugly, but still kind of cool. Like I'm
Mhm.
known for
Because
like
it's
my own kind
confidence.
of
It's all about the
all
confidence,
the
right?
I would love it that all the younger gals now, because I'm like, you know, the I was like the older lady in cosmetics. And
Yeah.
the younger gals will be like, Erica, what are you wearing today? I want to see what you're wearing. And they would always like talk about my outfits. And I don't really go over fashion. In my I tipped in makeup because to be honest, I'm not in love with my figure.
Hard.
I'm
It's
like
hard to be
a
a woman in
I
this world.
accept it.
Yeah.
I accept it, but I'm not going around flaunting it. I'm a, you know, clavicle up sort of chick.
And you know what? You have a beautiful face. So
Shoulders up.
You know, you work with what you got.
yeah.
You don't have it all. I'm 5 foot. You know, we work with what we got.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So, but you have a drive. Where did that drive initially come from? Because you were clearly either this was a childhood thing or you're born this way, but you are, like you said, a shark. Like you are gunning for everything and you seem to have accomplished everything that you set out to do.
You know, and what's really kind of makes me happy is I always accomplished it through the work,
Mm,
not through who I knew,
Right.
not through, you know, who I hung out with.
yeah.
It was
Right.
always the work. I'm a worker. So my father had
Yeah.
his own business in Queens, a small roofing business that was his
Mhm.
father's.
Okay.
And he worked. No matter what, he got up to work. My mother, they worked. And I would say, like, I didn't want to go to school. I'd be like, I don't feel good. All right, so you rest when you get home from school.
Right.
They worked. My parents were just workers. And, you know, middle class, I'd say, you know,
Mhm.
grew up in a working area, working class, middle class. But my dad liked nice things. And he always said, if you want nice things, you got to work for them.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I don't want someone else to give me nice things. I don't
Mm.
want it to have to be, and don't get me wrong, my husband's a teacher. He's fantastic. He's so good to me. But I don't want to need him. I
Right.
want to be with him,
Of
right?
course.
So
Yeah.
I want to get my kids things. I want to get my hair done. I want to do these things. So in order to do this, I have to grow. And I just always felt like I just wanted to be more. So I became the trainer in Jersey for Mac. So now they
Okay.
put me to Jersey. I lived in, at the time, Queens, around
Mm.
the Throgs Neck area.
Okay.
I drove to Jersey every day.
wow.
I didn't make a lot of money when I got the trainer position. I didn't, I was still in school, mind you. So I was in school as an art student from 9 in the morning till 9 at night, Tuesday and Thursday. I worked every single weekend.
Wow.
I also moved out on my own. At this point, my parents had gone through kind of a messy divorce.
Okay.
So I decided at 22 to move in with my then boyfriend, my soulmate. That's a whole other
Yeah.
but but okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
as we
But
always say here at Fresh Starts, your frontal lobe wasn't even fully grown by 22. So it's
No.
okay.
no, I mean, the hot guy you're supposed to like hook up with in high
Yes.
school.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna marry in that one. So
I did that too. I didn't marry him, but I was like, I have to make this work. It was my high school boyfriend. And it's like, no, we're just supposed to let him go.
right, we're just supposed to, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and then I worked really hard. So I was a trainer for, and not to carry on, 6 months in Jersey. I drove, I
love
paid
it.
my own tolls, I paid my own everything. Like I didn't complain. I was just so excited for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was so excited. And everyone else, they weren't willing to go to Jersey from Queens. They weren't willing. And guess what? A year later, at 22 or 20, I think 22 or 23 years old, I ended up as the resident trainer in Bloomingdale's 59th Street.
Wow.
I
Wow.
replaced the woman who left to go on tour with Mary J. Blige.
Wow.
That gives me chills.
was-
Like that's amazing. Like what an accomplishment.
This woman met me and she gave me a chance. But what I think gave me the advantage, besides, I'll put the work in, is that I was in school to be an art teacher.
Right.
So as an artist, I had a little bit more structure
Right.
and a little more discipline as a student. And I, was just willing to do the lessons, do the work. And it was a hot minute before they would respect me, because here I am, a 22-year-old kid from Queens, a trainer in Mac. And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But again, I did the work and I was nice, and I just worked hard and I earned the respect. I eventually went to Saks, New York as the trainer there. And then, I got to do so many cool things, runway shows, fashion shows, but I didn't love that as much as I loved the regimen of being in the stores, dealing with the clients and working with my teams.
Right.
And I love the social aspect of it. I really became institutionalized. And then I stayed in Saks, New York, probably about another 8 years, I would say, and with a couple of different brands.
Right. Right.
What was your medium when you were in art school? Like, were you drawing? Were you painting? I'm just curious.
It's funny enough, my senior thesis was a series of portraitures done with oil and acrylic. I liked oil and acrylic. I like textural, and it was done within like 2 minutes each.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm also ADD, which is why I am one of the quickest makeup artists. So whenever there were backups in the cosmetics, they would call me in like, Erica, let's go. And I'm like, oh, that's a prom girl. That's a 4-minute. Let's go. We got this.
Yeah.
And still now, when I do makeup applications out in the Hamptons, my friend has a salon that when I worked with Trish McAvoy, I ended up going there. And we became friends, the owner of 27 Hampton Salon, Bianca Lefferts, her name is. And we would go side by side and she would just keep throwing people at me because I'm like 12 minutes. Like, she's like, I've never seen someone just stand there and not move for 9 hours doing makeup. I'm like, let's go. This is old school retail. We got this.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. So what a cool juxtaposition between the art and the 2-minute, like, oil and acrylic, and then the makeup. And I too have ADHD, and it's funny now that we've talked to a lot of women on this
everyone
podcast.
we've booked has had ADHD. Like it's such I think there's such just as an observer, there's such an idea that like there's almost like whatever you're overcoming with the ADHD or whatever the the brain, how the brain works, the big ideas and then the following up on the big ideas. I think like a lot of people who are neurotypical or whatever have a lot of like, oh, I'm not going to do that, or I can't do that. And with ADHD, you guys like just get it done. It's amazing to me. Like so many entrepreneurs seem to have it. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think we're just very spontaneous. Like I'm very spontaneous. Like if I want to do my hair, I'm going to march to Sally's and do my hair. If my hairdressers know I don't have like set appointments. I just do what I do. I get an idea and I do. Now the hard thing is, and I think it's funny because my mother was actually dyslexic. And I believe, back in the day, it was ADD, right? And they would just call us daydreamers and just say, get it together. In order for me to finish a test, I had to really focus, and it took me longer than anybody else.
Right.
But I still got 100, because if I'm trying to read something and you're next to me tapping,
Right.
Or I'm thinking of what I'm going to wear later, what I'm going to do. Oh,
Right.
where's that shirt that I'm looking for? So I think maybe those of us that had, it's so hard that when we hone in, we can really like hone in
The
because we
hyper
had to
focus is
train
real.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So in all of that, you're rising the ranks, you're doing all these things. Where did becoming a mother play into all of that?
Okay, and it's funny. It's like I was joking around. Like I was not really born to be a mother. Like I'm a kind, empathetic human, but I'm also like a giant child. Like I'm
Mm,
really irresponsible. I'm
mm,
terrible at adulting. Okay, so I found my ex, and it was he didn't wasn't growing up, and I was kind of evolving into a different
yeah.
place, right?
Yeah.
Then I dated someone. I always joke around. I went from lazy to crazy. And I remember being about 28, 29, saying, what am I doing with
Yeah.
these types of guys,
Yeah.
right? When I'm very ambitious, I'm very hardworking,
Yeah.
I'm driven. I need somebody else like that. So I'm out one night and I meet my now husband, and he is a teacher. I love my mother was a principal, she was a
Right.
teacher. Responsibility, stability, right? The fact
Mhm.
that he got up every day on his own and I didn't have to wake him up to get to work was like,
Yeah.
wow, what a great guy. Could you imagine that? Like, this is like
Yeah.
the barometer, right? And he actually said, as soon as I walked in, I went to a bar with my sister, who I love, but we're totally different.
Okay.
So he says, as soon as he sees me, he goes, wait, I see your sister comes from the deeper end of the gene pool. So, right? So I turn and my sister goes, wait, what? And I go, exactly.
Yeah.
He made me laugh. And, I said to myself, this is someone I can have a family with
Right.
Yeah.
because he was great. He is great, caring, empathetic, took care of me. And I was like,
Mhm.
you know what? I can do this. I can do this thing.
Yeah.
And here, I never had a plan of having 3 kids. And when I was a little girl, I would say, I think I'll just have puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah. We make plans and the universe laughs, right?
Well, he met me and I was a manager in Saks, New York.
Right.
And he respected my hustle and he
Right.
always respected my game and he always loved that ambitious part of me.
Right.
So I think he never tried to hold me back. And it's
Right.
amazing, and I love to show the younger generation or whoever, we can have it all. You
Yeah.
can have your career. You can be successful and you can be a great mom at the same time.
I love that. I love that. And you can also have a good relationship, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there are good men out there that, like you said, want to take care of a family and be stable and supportive and loving and make you laugh, and that is possible. We talk to a lot of women here at Fresh Starts who are like, are there people like that? Can we have good relationships? And I
Yeah.
love that you have that, because it's such a great example of you are a powerful woman and he supported you, and that's not always the case with people.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it takes a very confident
Mhm.
person to
Yeah.
support a very powerful person. And
Yeah.
really, like when we walk into a room, he likes when I shine.
Right.
He
Right.
likes it. He's happy for me. He's got a very big dominant personality too. Don't get me wrong, which
Yeah.
I have to respect because he gives it back to me. I'm not a walk in the park and neither is he. But the funny thing is I always say the one mistake that he made, I joke around, I always say, you chose me. Because I said, you would have, you go on a dating show and there's always like the choice of the two. And there's this like great, amazing, warm person. And then there's this like hot mess or the kind of the nastier one.
Yeah.
And then you're always like, they chose the wrong one.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what you did. You chose the wrong one. You could have had the nicest person to clean, to cook, to do all this. You chose this. That's kind of our joke.
I love that. So how did you go from, you're in your career and then you start working with brands in a bigger sense, right? So take us like kind of the next step there.
Right. Let's go. Yeah, you gotta us ADD, you gotta rope us back in.
It's okay.
ADD's the lazy cousin.
I really want to hear your whole story because I'm fascinated by everything.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going back. All right. So now I am in Saks, New York. I was at Mac for a long time. And this was after probably around the time of like 9/11,
Okay.
around then. So we're going back, like now it's about 2001, 2002. I think I was with Mac about 5 or 6 years. And I said, okay, I'm 25, I'm 26. I want to see what else is out there. I felt like I just hit a wall and I wasn't really growing to the next level there.
Yeah.
So I was getting stagnant. So Helena Rubinstein made a resurgence back to the country, and the managers at Saks grabbed me to have this opportunity, and they made me their resident like artist there in Saks. And again, it was a nice salary bump. I just tried it out. It was really crazy, because now you went from Mac, where I used to say, like, at Mac you don't make contact with like eye contact with crazy people, stray dogs, or Mac clients, because they're always like, I'm next. You never get a break, right? And that was the time that it was like that popular. So now I went to a line that wasn't as well known anymore. And I had a manager, Laura, and she was like, you gotta go pull the clients. And I was like, oh my God, pull the clients. How mortifying. I have a master's. Pull these clients. Like, what am I? Right? So anyway, I remember I was like, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. So I learned to be one of those old school, like, mall stalkers. I used to call it the walk and stalk. Ladies, come join me today. Let me show you something wonderful. I came into one of those, and I realized I had an aha moment. I pulled a client out of nowhere, sat her down, did her makeup, and she got everything. And I was like, okay. Wait, what? And then I became like an OG on the floor pulling stalker. So I'm the one that you see in the mall. I'm like, come on, join me. But I do it in a funny way. And I'm like, come on, ladies. I'm like, try something new. Let's play, whatever. So I don't, and that took me out of my shell, and I learned a whole nother skill set. And then as I grew, I would get offers for different positions. I was already a trainer for Mac. I was the resident artist there. So then they left the country. Helena Rubinstein just didn't work out. Their resurgence just didn't work. And I went as, I believe I took a chance, and I was like a market manager for a little while for Frederick Fekkai Hair Care, where I traveled the Jersey and some of the New York markets. It was like an independent contractor. So I learned a little bit there, but it was a little bit of like a messy situation. It wasn't for Frederick Fekkai. It was like a field management team, and the checks were weird. I was like, I don't want to pay my own taxes. I got enough problems adulting, right? So then this manager, Vivian from Saks, brought me back to go to Laura Mercier. As a counter manager. And she was always kind of like a second mom to me. I don't know where she is these days, but she was really, really great to me. She was one of the department managers at at Saks. That took me to Helena Rubinstein and then brought me back to Laura Mercier. Where I was the counter manager of like a $2 million account. And then there was a business manager, Ruth, who I learned a ton from. And I just did the work. I managed the people. I kept my head down. I did the work. After a couple of years, I was ready to leave. I met my husband, and now I'm going to Long Island, because at the time I lived in Brooklyn, Queens. So now I'm going to Long Island. So I met Dan, and he's shipping me out. He's from Port Jeff. So my boss from Laura that had left and went to Benefit Cosmetics took me as a coordinator for Benefit Cosmetics. In Long Island. Then my boss had a baby, didn't come back, and I took her job as an AE. Where I learned a ton more. And Maria was just an amazing, amazing, kind woman. And I learned a ton. And again, I just did the work. I trained the artists. I worked with people. They asked me to do a meeting. I did a meeting. You asked me to do a presentation. I did a presentation. I did the trend shows. You need me in the city to do an event? I'll go. You need me to travel to do something? I'm going. And now I'm there, and I get pregnant. So I quit my job. I worked at another shop for like a little while I just didn't love. And then Maria hooked me up again with our friend from Trish McAvoy. And so I began my adventures as a traveling artist just in Long Island for Trish McAvoy. Because I said, I don't want to be a manager anymore. I don't want to be it. But guess what? Guess who's a manager 3 months later?
So what I love is that you are so, first of all, I'm going to take a bet that you are very kind to work with, right? Like, you probably are a very nice person to work with. And so people really enjoy working with you, because they wouldn't keep coming back to bring you into other things if they didn't really enjoy working with you. And I love that you're paying homage to all these women that supported you during all these times. And really, we talk a lot about this, is like, it takes a village, right, to raise an entrepreneur. There's so many women that we've encountered that we've helped get jobs, or they've helped us and pulled us into things. And we don't forget that. And, it's so important to really remember those people on your journey and honor them. And I love hearing about all these women because it really does take all of these hands to say, no, we believe in you and we support you and we're going to keep pushing you along. So I love that.
Yeah, it was definitely a community. I will say the retail, there's different worlds in cosmetics. I
Right.
was really more in the retail. I was very well known. My original name was Longo. So, I was before I got married, my actually Taylor's my middle name.
Okay.
So my name is
Very
Erica
cool.
Taylor.
Mhm.
So, when I was known as that, then I remarried, and obviously, but so I go by Erica Taylor just because that's my middle name. But I was known probably as Erica Longo for most of my career in cosmetics. But it was really people that recognized the work. And
Yeah.
again, I didn't hang out. I didn't really socialize. I just worked, right? And then I come to Trish McAvoy, and I'll never forget when I started at Trish McAvoy. They go, "All right, are you ready? Trish is going to train you." I was like, "Wait, what? Trish is going
Yeah.
to train you?" She's so hands-on. She's
Mm.
so involved. My direct boss, Sinette, that was allowing me to grow. I got pregnant 3 months again after I was at Trish McAvoy. I
Okay.
went on maternity leave. It was like a 6 week, I had a C-section. I came back. The day I came back, they promoted me to an account executive while I was pregnant. I
Right.
basically got promoted. Okay. So that speaks volumes for a
Yeah.
company. They didn't see
Yeah.
my pregnancy as a disability
Yeah.
that so many companies really look at it like,
That's a
oh, now you're
leadership.
pregnant. Now
That's good
what?
leadership. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
amazing.
Mhm.
So how long were you there with Trish?
12 on and off 12 years.
Wow.
A long
And I
time.
learned so much. So I went from being a regional artist to a coordinator to an executive to a regional and a senior regional and overseeing a very big portion of the Northeast. I just grew. I learned so much from Trish. There was another vice president, Joanne. And, I learned ways of managing and antiquated ways of managing that are not to do. And that's
Yeah.
okay because everything evolves, right?
Mhm.
And I also learned that just because you're a manager doesn't make you a better human or a
Mhm.
better person. Always remain empathetic. And they used to say to me that I was too nice. I was always too nice. And not my direct bosses like Trish and my Joanne, they understood my kindness,
Yeah.
And I said my empathy is my biggest strength and my biggest weakness
Yes.
because, but I will not allow, and I got wronged a lot. I got people that I promoted and people that I really supported that definitely did me wrong a lot. And people wouldn't understand why I would still keep doing it because I'm not going to let their meanness take my niceness.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Mhm.
not going to allow that to
100%.
happen. So I just kept pushing forth. And I think that energy and that is what led me to where I'm at now. That, kindness kind of transcends and
Yes.
energy and
Mhm.
attitudes kind of transcend.
Yep.
And even people will say to me now, I guess I have like 650,000 followers on TikTok. And
That's
this is
nothing.
in
That's
less than a
so
year.
nothing. That's
Um,
barely anything. No, that's amazing.
That's
That's amazing.
amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Answer everyone. I try.
Yeah.
And they'll say
Right.
to me, Erica, I'm kind of fangirling. Is that
Yeah.
you? I'm like, fangirling. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here drinking a glass of wine in Ronkonkoma in my pajamas, answering you. Like, I like the interaction. Like, I
Yeah.
have people that just say, Erica, my skin's, what should I use? What foundation? What this? I love
Yeah.
answering. It's such a simple, easy question for me to answer that took me 27 years to know my knowledge, to
Right.
accumulate the
Right.
knowledge.
Right.
So if somebody's like, why don't you charge these people for questions? I do some paid for consultations, and I actually keep the prices very relatively cheap because I feel like anyone should be able to have the access to it.
I appreciate that on so many levels. Like my thing is always if you give good, you get good. And if you don't, you've
Yeah.
learned a lesson. I love your concept of kindness and not wanting other people's hardness to harden you. And I'm completely in agreement. And then on the makeup level, we grew up in a very non-makeup family. And so it feels so hard sometimes to even just do one thing. Like I have a patchy eyebrow and I was like, I don't even know how to take care of that. And I had to ask around for girlfriends to be like, what do? I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. And it's such a, like you said, you have 27 years of experience. So it doesn't cost you anything, you know, and it takes you 2 seconds to answer them. I just commend you for leaving that room open for people.
Because I've been doing it so long, I know how embarrassing it can be to ask for the help. I know
Yeah.
how scary it can be because I
Yeah.
also see other makeup artists over the years making people look crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's hard. You want to be listened to. You know,
Yeah.
I can do a drama makeup, but my everyday go-to, like I actually do less makeup on others than I do on myself. My
Right.
everyday go-to is just, you know, a nice, fresh, glowy makeup. That's what I really dig for my clients. But like it can be very overwhelming. Like I can't cook. So sometimes people will say to me, why do you speak to us like we don't know what we're doing? I say, because here's the thing, I can't cook.
Right.
If you speak to me, I don't know what a pinch, a dollop, I don't know what this is. Just like you don't know what a buffing, a sweeping, I want the verbiage. You don't
Yeah.
know it. And I understand that because I have worked with real clients. So a lot of people on social media, and not to knock them, they're extremely talented and they're like really
Right.
wonderful makeup artists.
Right.
But I have learned with not just my face, I
Yeah.
have learned with clients, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and that's the difference. I know what you guys do to your faces. I know what can be uncomfortable, can be awkward, and I know what most of the common issues are. So when I do a virtual consultation and someone sends me a picture of their makeup and their skin, I pretty much know immediately what you're doing wrong. You
Yeah.
know, I could say you're not exfoliating, you're not hydrating enough, you're beautiful, and we can get you to the next level. You know, you're not putting your
Right.
blush high enough. You're not putting enough eyeliner, or you're doing
Yeah.
too much eyeliner. You know, your foundation's matte and you need something more luminous.
Right.
Or your
Right.
foundation's too luminous and you got to mattify your T-zone. But how much time does that take, right?
Well, it takes you 27 years.
Right. It takes you
That-
27 years. I mean,
I
that's
mean,
the thing, right?
that's
They're not paying you, and you're bless you for keeping a low cost for consultation, but we're not paying you for the 20 seconds. We're paying you for the 27 years. And I was just sitting here thinking about how many faces you've probably done makeup on or talked about makeup with. Like, I mean, probably in the millions at this point, right? 27 years.
Yeah.
The rate that you were going through people, the rate that people come into those Bloomingdale's and 59th Street, like, wow. I mean, yeah, it is embarrassing, and it's also like you said, Olivia and I talk about it all the time because we see the girls on TikTok, you know, doing their just like facial, you know,
contouring, yeah.
and we're like, who taught them? How did they know how to do this? And then this, and then like, it's amazing to us. So
I'm learning all different budgets. So when you come to me and you tell me like, what is your budget? Like what's or even priorities. It's not about
Right.
budget. Some people don't want to spend the money on makeup.
100%, yeah.
Maybe they'll spend the money on shoes. It's just
Right.
not their priority. So what are you looking for? What's your priority? And let's find you a routine.
Right.
I love that. And so how did you go from where you were and now you are a TikTok star and, you know, have a huge TikTok following, and not just a TikTok following, but you have an engaged, beautiful community on TikTok. So how did that transpire?
You know, I just started having fun. And I just said, so, and it's funny. And my previous employer would always say when we did social media, she encouraged, you know, we were encouraged the social media during pandemic to engage our clients. And I did it and I found my groove and I had fun. I just have fun. I'm super social. I'll talk to a wall. I don't care. So I found when I started doing this, we were always encouraged to do it a certain way, apply it a certain way, check your backgrounds, make sure you're wearing the right thing, the right this. And I'm like, guess what? That's not how I live.
Right.
You don't get to control every aspect of how I live. I'm going to do my best amazing job and make sure you have a productive, you know, brand and whatever I'm supposed to do. But you don't get to tell me what I do when I'm home.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll respect your products and I will respect it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to wear my rocker tees. I got an unmade bed behind me because I have 3 kids. I'm a real mom. I don't have help. And guess what? I drink my wine. I'm going to laugh and I'm going to find my people. So that was it. And every time we always hear like, we have to make sure we're all doing things the right way. And I was always like,
yeah.
I don't do blanket statements, you know, I don't do blanket statements. You got to come right for me. Right. I'm not responding to a blanket statement because I'm not going to get paranoid. Maybe it's me, maybe it's not. I don't know. But until you say, Erica, blah, 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 I don't ask for permission. I ask for forgiveness. So
I love that.
kept finding my people and just doing my thing. And it became a little bigger than me. I still really, guess what? Relatively, yes, I have a big community. People that have millions and millions.
Yeah.
It's not to my head. It's really not that. I mean, I'm fortunate. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. But I stay humble because there's people that have millions and millions. Like, there's
Yeah.
always someone better. There's always someone smarter. There's always someone faster. There's always going to be someone else. And then I started getting people copying a lot of my stuff, right? And at first it annoyed me. And I said, but that energy is not going to do anything good for me.
Right.
So something else I learned, I did a little stint at It Cosmetics. Jamie Kern Lima, when they first launched in the Ultas, I was a sales executive and I launched them when I stepped away from Trish before my third child. And I remember what she said is, you can't fake authenticity.
Yeah.
Done. Boom.
You can't fake authenticity, right?
Yep.
And that was from Jamie Kern Lima. And she said to me once, and she didn't have to, and another person that was inspirational on the way that I had a very short, brief stint with. She said one time, I remember her saying to me, Erica, I wish you've got a fire. When you speak, you've got some sort of fire. I wish I had. And I was like, Jamie Kern Lima, like, you're Jamie. Like, what? And she's like, no, Eric, you got something. And I was like, wow. That didn't cost her anything to say that to me. And she had no reason to. I was just a sales training executive for like Long Island, Northeast, Massachusetts situation. And again, you just meet people on the way, that little things implant. And that's what I say when people do things, or I just say, you can't fake authenticity. Just keep being you, Erica. Just keep being you.
I love that.
Whoever likes you will like you for it.
Yeah, and
if
stick
they
around.
don't, there'll be someone else to follow.
Yeah.
If you're uptight, there's amazing uptight artists out there that you're going to love.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. You really do have an amazing, like, I am like so excited to see what you do next because your personality is enormous and beautiful. Like, you really you have such a beautiful personality. I love that your audience is a lot of women who are kind of going through this next chapter in their life. Can you talk to us a little bit about the power of makeup through life changes? Because I feel like, we think about, makeup and blah, 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 but it really does empower people. And I feel like we forget that part of it.
But we still like pants that fit, right? So it's the same thing, just feeling good, doing your hair. And this is something I learned with Trish McEvoy. Her brand was always empowering. It was the power of makeup. So what she had said in one of her books, and interacting with her, I learned a ton, and I have a ton of respect for her. And she had said that there's a cascade effect of makeup. When you're putting your face on, that little bit of what she called mirror time, that you give yourself. We give ourselves to everybody else, but that 5 to 10 minutes that you give yourself, that mirror time to get yourself ready, and then it cascades throughout your day. When you have a good hair day, when you have a good makeup day, your day goes different. You walk around a little different. You pick your chin up a little more. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I look like swollen face, look like a nut. My kids are like, what? And I go into that bathroom in a half hour, and sometimes in 7 minutes, I'm like, you know what? I got this. I got this. It's like a Jedi mind trick. When your face and hair is on, you're like, you know what? I can do this shit.
Yeah.
I can do this shit. I can get this done today. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And that's why I always say, when I'm always saying, I'm getting known for saying, let's go, because I'm telling myself, let's go. I'm not really necessarily telling you guys. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm telling myself, let's get your shit together. Let's go.
I love that.
It's so funny. I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, and I've talked about it on previous episodes, that I have shingles right now. It was so confusing and off-putting and dislocating to my day when I would look in the mirror and my whole left jaw was super swollen. And so like this side of my face was swollen. My eye was like swollen shut. And it was and even now, like I still have the shingles on my face and a little bit of scabbing, but I feel like myself. And so we would like get on podcast interviews, and I was like, I couldn't even really, I didn't want to interact. Like I didn't, I didn't feel like myself. And it's that same thing where you know what your face is supposed to look like. You know when your face, like as I put it, like I wasn't dazzling myself. I had no dazzle those days. And I would like
Yeah,
look
and
in
then
the
it makes you
mirror.
feel a little sad. It makes you
Awful.
feel a little sad.
Yeah, it makes you feel very sort of disconnected from myself, and just to not look like myself. And so to be able to find that self and to be able to look, like you said, take that mirror time, whether it's just like putting on some, mascara or like whatever, like light makeup that Erica teaches you how to do, like it, to find yourself and to be able to like find a shortcut almost to finding your dazzle, that I think is an amazing thing, because it really can like bring your day up to that next level.
Now that I'm 46, right? When I was in my 20s, maybe I'd take 2 hours to do my makeup.
Right.
I don't have that time. I don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
So I legit do my makeup in 7 minutes, full face, no joke. You don't need 700 steps. I have on 3 eyeshadows. You don't need to do 30 million things. You can get your shit on really quickly if you're doing it the right way, and somebody sets you up on a routine and says, this is it. Like if you don't know how to dress, right? You'll look at the mannequin and say, that's what I'm going to wear. You just look at, you pick it out. That's what somebody needs to teach you for your face, your default face. You got to get a default look that this is your go-to, no matter what you're wearing, no matter what you're doing, no matter what. That's it. Your face is on, go.
I love that. And I love that you said it really is so much more than the makeup application, right? It's taking the time and saying, no, I'm worthy of closing the door. My kids are screaming. I don't care. I'm taking 5 minutes to put my face on, do my mascara, my blush, whatever. And that worthiness is going to carry you throughout the day and empower you to make those brave decisions, or adulting, or all the things that we talk about. So it's like, yes, it's about the makeup and the face, but it's also about taking the time for yourself. And I love that you are, pairing the two concepts together to really like empower women, at all phases of their life.
Yeah. And it's like budgets. So that's why I'm wearing a full face right now of Dollar Tree. Like this is a full face
and she's
of Dollar
gorgeous.
Tree.
She is gorgeous.
The makeup is perfect.
It's glowing.
Glowing.
Yeah, it's nice. And I want to show people that too. Just because your budget is different doesn't mean you can't look beautiful. And then people are like, well, what's in the ingredients? I don't know. I grew up on Mary Swanson TV dinners and bologna. Listen, I'm not your green machine here. I'm not Miss Green. I put Botox in my face. All right. That's like poison. I'm sorry. I'm not, if you're big into ingredients, I mean, that's okay. That is great. I'm just not the one. And honestly, I know what companies, I've been in every position. I know what the things cost and what they sell them for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When things are all made in the same factory and branded differently. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So you've gone through a lot of fresh starts, career pivots, parenthood, all these big fresh starts. What advice would you give to somebody who is going through, a fresh start in life?
I'm only going to have one life as Erica. If there's reincarnation, I come back as something else. This is it. This is what I got.
Yeah.
5 foot. I grew up in a working class family. I'm not a supermodel. I know what I know. But if this is what I have, who puts a limit on where I can go? Who's putting a limit on what I can do? Just because I'm a mom, who says I can't have more? Just because I'm 46, who said I can't grow in an industry that has been taken over by 20-year-olds and celebrities? Like, who says we can't do that? So nobody is putting a limit on me but me. And I'm just going to keep going and learning and growing, because that's it. This is it. This is the chance that I have as Erica Taylor, right? This is the one chance we have, is what we are right now. We're never going to be a day younger. We're not going to be a different person. I'm never going to be a 6-foot model. I'm never going to have abs because I don't work at it.
Same.
But this is it. This is what I got.
Right.
And so if this is what we have, this is who we are. Why can't we just try new things? I'm not going to stop evolving. I'm not going to, stop trying new things. And sometimes I do videos and they suck. I get like a couple of likes. Some of my videos are boners. Some of them suck. But you know what I do? I learn. All right. I thought it was great. Didn't resonate with somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes I do videos that I think suck and everybody loves.
Yep.
But it's learning. Every single thing we do is learning. Every failure is learning. Every success is learning what worked. How do you do this again? It's just, we're not going to stop evolving, and we shouldn't. The day that you think you know everything is when you're a dumbass.
I love that.
I want to get that whole speech tattooed on my forehead so I can read it every morning. That was amazing. I love that.
We're going to brand that speech. I love that. So if people are interested in getting a consultation with you and they're listening to the podcast and they're like, oh my God, I love her energy. I want to connect with you. Obviously on TikTok and all of the socials, but you are doing consultations with people virtually?
Yeah. So what I do is I do a Zoom consultation, and it's a half hour to 45 minutes. It's about $75 to $100.
Wow.
And I have had people. It is. You know why? You know, I've had people that say they saved up all month to have that consultation.
Oh, brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
And just to have a glass of wine and hang with me. Sometimes we just have a glass of wine and chat. And if I don't have a client right after, the other day someone had a half-hour consultation and we stayed on for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I don't care. And even my husband had said, you should be charging so much more. You know what? Why? I'm sitting in my house. I'm having a glass of wine. And that $75 might mean shit to someone, but it also might mean a shit ton to someone else.
100%.
You know? So, and I set you up in a basic routine. And you tell me, you send me before and after pictures on what you're using, your skin with makeup, your skin without, what skincare you're using, what your budget is, and your skin, with makeup on. So before I get into this, because we only have a half hour to 45 minutes, if I'm like booked consecutively, I try to assess what I want to do beforehand, so I know, okay, I can say, I'm looking at your face, your makeup's sitting in your pores. That means you have to exfoliate more, whatever it is. So I just get to know who they are. And then we go over a routine that will be an everyday routine for them.
I love that.
Prepared because you do the work.
Right.
Like you always come prepared because you do the work. And that's what is amazing.
I love that.
After I set up the routines, and then my team helps me put links, and then you'll get an email linked to every single thing that I recommended.
Amazing.
Oh, wow. That's what a deal. And we talk a lot here about, when you develop a platform and you are a celebrity or you're somebody famous, really using your platform for good and to help people. And that's so much of what you're doing. And that is why you're going to be incredibly successful, because the universe rewards people who use their power for good. And you are, I mean, your perspective of like, it might be, not a lot of money to some people, but it is a lot of money to other people. And to be able to like talk to you with all of your experience and get to hang out with you and get your authenticity could literally change people's lives, right? I mean, being able to get the right makeup routine, and then that snowballs, right? It's like, then you go in for the job interview and you feel confident, and then you go to the date and you feel confident. And like, that is something that you can provide for people based on your hard work. And you are so grounded and humble about it. And that's why you're going to be just incredibly successful. So we're really excited for you to watch this grow.
Yeah. Thank you. I was just speaking to my manager team that helps me, and they're amazing. And I said, I don't want to be like that huge. I want to grow, but I want to be enough that I still have I don't want it to become bigger than me. I still want to have my connections. That would make me happy. I don't need to be in a mansion. I don't care. I drive my Honda CRV. I don't need that stuff. I like buying some nice clothes. I'm a little flashy sometimes. I'm a girl from Queens, but I don't want, I have interacted with so many wealthy people, and so many are great, and so many are so miserable. That amount of money does not give you happiness, and that does not come to the pearly white gates. That does not get you into heaven, okay? Money is not everything. I want to have enough to be comfortable and take care of my family and eat and maybe go on a vacation here or there, but I don't need much more than that. I just want to like have a great life with my family, chill and meet nice people. Boom, like done.
I love that. I love that so much. And that's really our ethos here at Fresh Starts, is just, give back, be yourself, be authentic, and, have enough that you can support other people if they need it. And, the pursuit of joy, like that's really it, the pursuit of joy.
Guys, you don't take anything else. Nothing's coming with you.
No, it's
None of it is
not.
coming with you. Just what you leave behind and what you do for people.
Yeah.
That's what's going. Leave some sort of
Yes.
legacy. I said to my kids, if ever I'm gone, tell everybody how funny I was. Just remember to tell your family, tell your kids how much fun I was and how we would go through drive-throughs dancing and laughing and how I take my kids and we do mall walking and I, race through the malls with them and just laugh, live, laugh, that's it. There's one life. Do it, live, laugh, have fun, drink the wine, eat the shit.
You
100%.
You are
totally agree. Totally
100%. And you're like the best motivational speaker I've heard in weeks. So I love everything you're saying. Love it. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today and sharing your truly beautiful, authentic stories and, just gracing us with all of this wonderful goodness, because we're going to take this with us throughout the day. And we're just excited to introduce you to all of our audience. And I hope that people get in touch with you. I know that we're like plotting now. We're like, oh, now we need, because we have no idea about makeup. So we're not makeup people. Thank you for everything, Erica. And, for sharing all of that with us. And we're just so excited to see what comes next for you. And, just thank you for everything.
Same for you guys. I'm so excited with everything you're doing. You're doing good things. You're doing amazing.
Thank you.
And feel better. The shingles are not fun, but you guys are killing it. You guys are doing big things. You're motivational for everybody else. You guys are doing things that are really leaving imprints too. Come on, man.
Thank you for listening to today's story. We're always here and we're proud of you. Until next time, brave one.
A Fresh Story is brought to you by Fresh Starts Registry, the first and only platform for everything you need to start again. You can read the show notes and learn more about today's episode at freshstartsregistry.com/podcast.
As always, we want to remind our listeners that while we strive to provide accurate and helpful information, we are not medical doctors or mental health professionals. We want to remind you all that the information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. We highly recommend consulting a qualified healthcare or mental health professional for any concerns or questions you may have. Remember, we are a podcast, but we are not licensed medical professionals. Always consult with your healthcare provider for any medical decisions. And as a gentle reminder, all opinions are our guests and do not necessarily reflect our own.